Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the National Wiffle Holy Commutes podcast. I'm your host, Grant Miller. Today, you'll be listening to a special Kalamazoo Wiffle Ball League edition with a one-on-one interview with longtime wiffle legend and friend David Ayres. Folks, you're definitely going to want to give this one a listen. We're going to begin into some pretty deep stuff here, so buckle up here and listen in. So with that, David, how you doing today?
Good. How you doing?
Doing good.
Not enjoying the snow that's falling currently at my house, but it is December, so I guess got to deal with it.
Yep. My shovel and plow will be going at it here shortly.
Yeah, for sure.
So, David, we got a national audience today listening in on this. So, you want to just kind of give them a background of you personally, family, where you're from, etc.
Yeah, I'm born and raised in Kalamazoo area my whole life. Originally from Gobles, Michigan, which is a small town that's just kind of west of Kalamazoo. Currently live in Paw Paw, which is west of Kalamazoo. I've been, I'm married. I got 2 kids, 11-year-old and 8-year-old. Keep me pretty busy, but manage to still find time to play wiffle ball. So,
Stud baseball players growing up too.
Yeah.
So, how did you get started in the KWL? Did you play wiffle ball growing up? What's the history behind that, and also what you've done throughout your career and just the national scene and everything like that?
Yeah, I mean, I assume like everybody, obviously when I was a kid, I played with my brother in our backyard one-on-one. Looking back, I don't know how we ever did one-on-one, but it's what we did to pass the time in the summers. And then so my first year playing was 2010, but I remember it was back in 2009. I lived in apartments just down from where Flesher Field is, on the curve by Kalamazoo Valley at Saddle Creek Apartments. And I had noticed when I was in a golf league at that time, which was on Tuesdays, and I noticed when I'd be coming back from golf, there were wiffle ball games going on at that field. So I had talked to Brian Lewis, who we've been friends since kindergarten, went to school together and everything. And I was like, dude, I think there's a wiffle ball league going on at these fields. Like, I see people, they're wearing matching jerseys. So like, I don't think it's just people getting together and playing. So he did he checked into it. I don't know if he just went up there or how he got a hold of Brian Myers, who was running the league at the time, how he got a hold of him. But he ended up saying, yeah, dude, there's a league. We should get into it next year. And so that's he spearheaded it. At the time, he had worked with Adam Kuzman and another guy that originally played with us who hasn't played, but we were kind of the core 4. And then we added a couple more pieces, and that's kind of how we got started playing.
And that was on the Scared Hitless team?
Yes, correct. Yep.
And Scared Hitless, for the listeners, they're still playing, longtime KWL franchise. Ayres, you won 2 championships back-to-back with them, correct?
Yep, 2012 and 2013.
Nice. And then you've always done the NWLA tournament too. You're correct me if I'm wrong, one of 2 now, or is it 3 who've played in every NWLA tournament?
I believe it's still 3 right now. It's me, Sam Skibby, and Jeremy Radijak. There's rumors about Radijak maybe being done. Don't know if that's true or not, but as of right now, there's 3. There's 3 of us. So
that's incredible. So 13 years, right?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, that's crazy. And so far, just to give the listeners some idea of what you've done, you've put up some incredible numbers. So 13 years, he's gotten 3 Cy Wiffles, which is our best pitcher award in the KWL. Again, he's won 2 championships. He's got, if you combine his regular season and playoffs, he's got over 1,000 strikeouts. Not many guys in the league have ever done that. At the plate, you're 1 shy of 100 home runs, so you're about to get that one next year. This is a cool one too. I don't think a lot of people would know this, but you have the 2nd most wins in the NWLA tournament. That's pretty crazy.
That's just a product of me playing in every single tournament. I'm not trying to say I'm one of the top pitchers in that tournament, because there's some phenomenal pitchers in that tournament. But longevity helps for sure.
You're right up there though. I mean, your career ERA in the KWL and that is really good. And I mean, we came in second. We're runners up in 2020. And that you pitched some outstanding games. You pitched 16 innings, had a 1.12 ERA, 0.88 WHIP, and I mean, they're against some of the best teams. I think OCWA was I think your last outing in that tournament.
That was, yeah, the complete game. I came in for the first of two against WSEM. I started and then Hogan finished. But yeah, yeah, that was a fun year. Like everything just clicked for us properly. You know, like everybody, we couldn't have asked for a better run at that point. It was fun for sure.
Definitely. So, since you've been in the Kalamazoo League, how has the league evolved since you've been here? You've seen a lot of changes and a lot of people.
It has. It's crazy how, like, so we've modified rules as we went along to help with competitiveness, but obviously just as we went along, players have gotten better. But I mean, we went from when I first was in the league, I think the mound was 4 feet closer than it is now. We've moved it back twice since I've started playing. We moved it back to a certain point, and then it was like after I think the third year of the NWLA tournament, we moved it back another 2 feet just to match that length. So we're right on par with that. When we first started playing, like ball could be picked up inside the base pass, so in the infield, and it was an automatic out. So yeah, you know that we went away from that to our current ruling, partly because pitching had got so good that hitting was suffering. So it was a way to help hitting, and I think it's helped. You know, and then we used to have a rule that like if you didn't walk, or if you got 5 balls for a walk, you didn't actually have to take your walk. You could stay in and hit, which was good in the beginning because it was, you know, more of a social league and just about having fun. But we found we had to get rid of that because it would happen to where people would do that, and then all of a sudden, if it was a close game in the last inning, now they wouldn't do it, and it was like we need to make it uniform across, you know, because then that would just make up arguments. Be like, well, you did it last inning, now why are you not doing it this inning, type of thing, and it just caused a lot of headaches. And then I would say the biggest one that we did this past year was changing kind of how our league is structured with doing the competitive side and the social side. And I think that was a great thing. I didn't hear anyone like unhappy with that. Everybody seemed happy. There were a lot of competitive games on both sides. Like I think that was one of the biggest pluses to us making this league better.
100%. And I don't know if it happened multiple times, but I know at least once a social team beat a competitive team. Like those social teams are solid, and even Scared Hitless, who they're on the social side this year, they were the one team from that division to make to our playoffs. They played the number one team, the Flying Monkeys, really tough. So in the playoffs. So.
Yeah, I think it helped a lot of guys on the competitive side to get more confidence, especially pitching. Yeah, because they weren't concerned with trying to strike everybody out, and I think I think that helped for sure.
I 100% agree on that. So, how about these last 2 years? So, a lot of these listeners are probably unaware of what you've gone through. Can you kind of fill everyone in on your Wiffle and life journey?
Yeah. So, back in the spring of 2021, I started having some health issues. I fought through it. You know, I still obviously played wiffle ball, did everything, but was going to the doctors, getting tests done and everything. And back in January of this past year, so January of 2022, I found out that I had a tumor in my rectum, so I was diagnosed with rectal cancer. And so from that point, like I was going through chemo treatments and radiation treatments all summer and everything. And obviously I still managed to play wiffle ball. I was still coaching my both my boys in baseball, just trying to stay as busy as possible. But it was quite a tough experience at times. Like So I started chemo. My first chemo treatment was February 22nd. My last one was May 31st. So I was going through that. You know, we started our league in May. So pretty much every 2 weeks, like we'd have a game on Monday. Tuesday morning, I'd get to the cancer center about anywhere between 7 or 9 a.m., depending on when my appointment started. I'd get blood work done. I'd meet with my oncologist to go over the blood work, see how everything was going. Then I'd go up to the infusion room and I'd be there for 3 to 4 hours getting chemo treatments. So I'd be there for about 6 hours on Tuesday. I'd leave there with a pump attached to me that was administering another chemo drug for about a day and a half, and I'd have to go back Thursday to get that taken off. I did that every 2 weeks, like I said, till the end of May. And then I had the month of June off to kind of just go over things and just kind of let the body recover. But then I think it was July 6th, I started my radiation treatments. That was every day, Monday through Friday, 5 days a week at 8 o'clock in the morning. So I'd go get that done, then I'd go to work and I'd go play wiffle ball. And then, like for the NWA tournament, I had that radiation treatment that Friday morning, and then you and Bear and myself left out about noon to head down to Indy for the tournament. Like, you know, it was an adventure for sure. So.
Yeah, it's just wild, like for the listeners. So being kind of a little more firsthand with Ayres, and me and him played on the same team for the first time this year. So I kind of saw the progression throughout the summer, and I've told you this, Ayres, so many times, but like how you attacked cancer and this just the situation you were dealt with, I've never seen anything like it. Like for the listeners, like this guy, nobody would have ever guessed you had cancer. Nobody would have ever known. You didn't even basically want to talk about it. You just acted like everything was normal. You looked normal. You still had hair. You still were looking great with like it was just like seriously, it's super inspiring. And that's kind of why when you said you wanted to hop on, I wanted to talk about this because I think it can really help people a lot, because you went through hell and you made it look just really easy, and you're mentally really strong anyways. I know that's part of the resilience to get you through that, but like I think a lot of people, if they were dealt those cards, they would say, screw wiffle ball. Like why would I even want to put any effort in that? So like what made you decide to keep playing this year?
Yeah, well, and thank you. I know you've told me that before, how much of an inspiration I was. Like, I don't know. I have a hard time looking at it like that. Like I was doing what I had to do. As far as like not looking like I had it, I was very fortunate. Like my age and my overall health, you know, I turned 40 back in May. So I was, for having cancer, I mean, most people are older. Like I was fairly young for that, and I was in good shape and everything. That helped a lot. Luckily the chemo drug that I had, like losing hair wasn't a side effect of that. So that's why I never lost my hair. Most of the side effects, I didn't have too many. The biggest two side effects I had was I was always tired. I had no energy. And in the spring, especially, I had very big cold sensitivity. Like if it got cold, my feet, my hands, my fingers, I'd like be like pins and needles, and like it hurt. So that was difficult to do for work, and even, you know, playing wiffle ball. Like if it'd be like 68 and sunny, and everybody's like thinking it's a gorgeous day, and I got pins and needles in my hand because my hands are cold. Like it had to be like almost 75 before I didn't have that. So that was an adjustment to try to handle. But you know, I took it as I needed to do it, keep as normal of a life as possible, just for my sanity and my mental stability. Like if I was sitting at home feeling sorry for myself, what good is it going to do? I'm going through it regardless. I need to do what I can do, you know? And I've always been a person where if I make a commitment to something or to some people or someone, like I need to try to honor it as much as possible. And, you know, I had no problem talking about it when people asked how I was doing it, but you know, I wasn't the person, and I never have been, where I'm just gonna like complain and really tell people how it was. I mean, I was in pretty much, my body was uncomfortable 24/7.
Yeah.
Like, to not get into like too much of details, but it felt like I had to go to the bathroom all the time, but I couldn't. And my body was telling me I had to go, and I was fighting myself, and it was draining. But the funny thing was, when I was coaching my kids, whether it was Little League or travel, or when I was playing wiffle ball for those couple hours, like, I didn't even realize I couldn't feel it. Like, it was like, because I was focused on the other stuff, it helped me just for the couple hours to feel okay. So it was something I had to do, and I'm glad I was able to do it. I know I wasn't 100%, and I know with playing with you, you saw it a lot. Like, I didn't play a lot of defense just because I was tired, especially if I was pitching. Like the game before, like, that took all my energy out of me, so I had to sit a lot. And I appreciate you and Lance and Sawyer and Artum, like, understanding the situation and being like, not expecting me to do what I can't do, type of thing. But it was something I had to do for myself, just to keep, like I said, keep myself sane. So
Sure. No, I'm so happy you were able to stick it out and that it helped you, because, like, you were still, no one, again, like, from a actual competitive side, there was, like, not even a difference in my mind. Maybe towards the end of the summer, a little bit after you kind of went through multiple months of treatment, you could maybe see a little bit of, like, your velocity drop, but for the most part, it was the same old Ayres. I mean, like, I was looking at your stats today. You went 5-0. You're one of 3 pitchers to go undefeated. You had 1 save, 31 innings pitched, 2.13 ERA. You were in the tops of all the pitching categories. And at the plate, you had 33 RBIs, which, for context, that was more than your 2020 and 21 seasons combined. 2021 seasons combined. So, and you had 4 bombs, 2 of which were like grand slams, and it seemed like every time you hit a home run, they're clutch, whether it was in the playoffs or in the season against really good pitchers, against Hogan, against Tate, against Shepard. And then, not to mention, you still went to the NWA tournament and threw 8 innings and only gave up 1 run. So it's just, like, incredible. And that's what I wanted to hop on here, was I think a lot of people who saw you and saw us at the NWA tournament, they had no idea, because we didn't really make it public or anything, but little did they know you were going through all this and you were still shoving. So it's just like,
yeah,
such a cool story.
Yeah, and from the pitching standpoint, the toughest, it was more towards the end of the year when I was on the radiation. One of the side effects of that was I was having numbness in my fingers, so that affected my pitching a little bit. Like, it was like I couldn't feel the ball properly with my fingertips, so that made it difficult at times. And it was frustrating to me because I expect to be perfect. Like, I'm my own worst critic, and so that was frustrating. But yeah, all things considered, I mean, I guess I'd say for the most part, I was probably 70 to 80% of myself last year. And I guess that's pretty damn good considering, right?
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. What about, so again, you were on a new team this year. Could you kind of give everybody some context of how that happened? You played for Scared Hitless for all the years prior. Can you walk everyone through what happened and kind of how the 2022 season went?
Yeah, so, at the end of the 2021 season, before 2022 started, there was talks about changing up the format of the league and everything. And myself and Brian and Justin had, the 3 of us run the league, and we were talking about it and trying to figure out like what teams would go where. And Brian had said, we might go to the social side. Everybody's kind of, half of our team wanted to go social, kind of a couple of us wanted to stay competitive. And I just told him, like I said earlier, I've been friends with him since kindergarten. He's one of my best friends. I told him, I was like, well, obviously I love playing with you and everybody on our team. I love our team. I mean, I've got the Scared Hitless logo tattooed on my arm. Right?
That's true. Everybody, that's not a joke. He literally does.
I'm hitless through and through. I go, well, I'm not ready to give up the competitive side of this. And I go, it's going to be no hard feelings. I get it. Like, I don't think I'll have a trouble finding a team if you guys want to go to the social side. So it ended up happening, and I ended up giving you a call. I was like, hey, you looking for anybody? I need a team. And of course you jumped right on that. And then I told you about my situation and what I'd be going through. But yeah, that's kind of how it worked. Like, and I had a lot of fun this year. It was kind of like, it was completely different. I went from a team where we were all late 30s, early 40s to me being 40 and you guys all being 28 or younger. Like,
yeah, Sawyer's 17.
Yeah, I'm old enough to be his dad, you know. Like, it was fun though. Like, I kind of felt like Roger Dorn a little bit sometimes, you know, but no, I enjoyed it. It was fun to watch, you know, help where I can, like watch Lance, how much he improved on over the year with his pitching was amazing, you know.
Yeah.
And I know he's got the drive. He's only gonna get better, but yeah, it was fun. I really enjoyed watching you play every week. Like, in my mind, you're the best hitter to ever be in our league, and it's not even close.
Thanks,
like,
man.
it was, you know, before you, I always said it was Brian Jennings, but your ability to just, it's amazing to watch you hit. So it was fun watching that every year.
Likewise.
Every week, I should say. Yeah. So. But yeah, it was a fun season. It was definitely a change, but it was good. I still got out to watch those boys play when I could on Thursdays and stuff. So
Yeah, that's just your ability to balance everything with the cards you're dealt. It just baffles my mind. So I mean, you have a lot of things to be proud of. I mean, the last 2 years in general should be proud, pretty proud moment. How you handled all of that. But is there one or two things that stick out more than anything else? Whether it's wiffle ball related, whether it's personal, it doesn't matter. But
I don't know. Like I said, it's just I took it as it's what needs to be done. You know, like, again, like I told you, I've had multiple people tell me like how inspirational it was, and I'm just like, I don't feel special. I'm honestly, I felt like I was one of the lucky ones because I didn't have a lot of side effects. I was able to do everything normal. I definitely understand how, especially older people that are in their 60s or 70s, they get cancer, like how going through that treatment can absolutely wreck them, where they can't do anything. Like, because there were days where I felt like I just didn't want to get out of bed, you know. But it's just, it is what it is. I had to do it. I had to get through it. You know, luckily I had a good support staff with my family, my wife, my kids, my parents, my in-laws. Like, they were my parents and my in-laws. Anytime they needed to take the kids for us, they would. Like, my wife's a teacher. Her principal, like, anytime she had to go with me to doctor's appointments, it was no issues. Like, you know, it was great. Like, having all you and everybody else in the league, like, always asking how I was doing, and just being there for support was awesome. And with my son's travel team that I coach, like, all the parents were amazing, you know, and I had a really good support staff, so it made it a lot easier. But, and then I guess we could say this too with that. So I finished my radiation in August, and I had surgery to remove the tumor November 3rd. And I had a couple weeks ago now, I met with my oncologist for the pathology report, and I'm officially in remission. There's no cancer anywhere in my body. They were able to remove it all. They had removed 17 lymph nodes from around the tumor while they were doing that surgery, and those all came back negative, so there was nothing in those. So at this point, I got an ileostomy bag now, so I'm waiting for everything to heal, and I'll get that off in February at some point, and I'll be good. And it'll be checkups every so often for about 5 years to make sure it doesn't come back. But right now, it's the best case scenario. So.
yeah, no, man, that's awesome. I'm just so happy for you and your family. When you dropped that news, I was ecstatic. So thank God.
It definitely, it made me stop and think. Like, you know, when I was diagnosed, I was 39. Like, not thinking about dying, not thinking
Right.
about death. Like, you know, obviously we know everybody's going to die, but you really don't think about it when you're this age. Like, everything's going great. And I had to sit back and think, like, holy cow, like I have, you know, at the time it was, my kids were 10 and 7 when I was diagnosed. And I'm like, you know, I could sit here and my kids not have a dad, you know, and my wife not have a husband. And it was a real eye opener, and it made me really appreciate what I have and what I'm able to do and everything. And I joke that I'm not ever going to have a midlife crisis because this came through and set me straight. Like, I'm not going to be upset with anything now, you know, like, it definitely put life into perspective for me. So
Yeah, definitely. I mean, with that, I mean, with you officially in remission and being at 20, you have any goals, like specific goals to get after as you're kind of just rebuilding, like from a health standpoint?
yeah, I want to get back into shape. I was so out of shape last year. Like, I got tired running to first base. Like, you know, so that was one. I mean, personal goals, like I'm sitting regular season wise, I'm just shy of 1,000. Like, I have opportunity to get to that 1,000 strikeout mark. I think regular season wise, I know AJ Tate was the first one in our league to reach it. I believe Adam and Hogan have gotten there now, and possibly Lee. But I don't know if anybody else has gotten there. Like,
Yeah,
so
small company.
yeah, so you know, that would kind of be a cool thing to get this year. And if I have a my normal year, then I'll get it. But yeah, I mean, just going out and having fun. Obviously, NWLA, I look forward to that every year.
Yep.
You know, I'd love for us to finally put it together and get that championship. It would mean the world, but yeah, it's just keep plugging along.
Yeah, love that. Love that. Well, anything else you want to plug or leave or speak on before we leave? I mean, I know your story. I've said it a number of times on here, but it really is uplifting and inspiring. So I guess I'll leave it to you for the floor here for last words.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm just glad I've gotten through it, and just looking forward to next year just being completely normal, back to normal, what it was, I guess now 3 years ago, you know, and just going out and having fun and looking forward to each week that we get to play. So.
Amen. Well, thanks, Ayres. And yeah, one thing, I think I maybe told you this too, but I recently had a buddy who, same age as me, who literally came down with the same diagnosis as you. And I remember talking to him and telling him your story, because he was, I mean, yeah, it's terrifying. And I told him that, and it definitely helped him, like, no doubt. And he told me that because he ended up having a really successful surgery, and it looks like they removed all the cancerous cells in the tumor, and he is going to go through chemo just to be safe. But he told me that he's like, that story of your friend in the KWL, like that, like, eased my mind that I could do this too. So I know you're going to help multiple other people who are listening into this, or anybody who's listening in who maybe has a family member. I know your story will help, so appreciate it.
Well, thanks. I will say, because us guys as a species, we're stubborn, right? If you start noticing anything out of the ordinary, mainly blood in your stool, go get it checked out. Don't wait. Don't put it off. You know, it's not going to kill you to make sure that it's not cancer or anything else, and get it taken care of quickly. The earlier you find it, the better off you'll be. That was one thing that helped me. We did find it early, so.
Definitely. Awesome, man. Well, appreciate you joining on. And with that, thank you everybody for listening in to National Wiffle Ball Holy Commutes and this KWL edition. We look forward to listening into more podcasts in the future here. Thanks, Ayres.
See ya.